We are live. More waiting room. Okay, guys. So this is the Building Your Team Zoom, and we've talked about like learning your people and knowing them. But sometimes those people that we get, or even if our promoters bring in new people that we don't really know yet, sometimes they come in and they are not the most positive people we've ever met, right? Like they come in the chats and they're like, I'm terrible at selling things. I can't do this. Everybody tells me no. What if, sorry, more waiting room. I'm ADD today. So what if, my customer's breaking out in a rash and they can't handle it and there's like waiting room left and right and they don't know what they're doing, or they're discouraged, they don't want to continue with this. What do I tell them, right? Or they come in the chat and they're having a terrible day and it's evident that somebody's having a bad day, right? So what do you do with that? Because sometimes, especially I'm a yellow, so I'm a feeler and I want to allow people to have that space to be having a hard time, right? Like I don't want to say you're not allowed to have a moment, because everybody has their moments. But as Courtney has taught us, you have your 5 seconds. You say what you need to say, you vent, you do what you need to do, or you have a vent buddy that you go to, that you can tell them anything. But when you pick the wrong person, they're going to feed into your negativity, right? So be careful in who you pick, first of all. Second of all, take your 5 seconds, but then let's turn it and talk about the positives. So this is where I was telling Alicia that I was quoting her, because literally when I start to have a moment of my own at this point, I have heard her so many times say, nope, stop it, you're not allowed. She'll spell it out in the chat. And I literally hear it. Like when people come into my chat and they're negative, or in any chat really, that's all I hear is Alicia and her. So I told you it wasn't bad, Alicia. So I want to challenge everybody when any of those situations arise to have Alicia in your head saying and put a stop to it, because when you fuel the negativity, that sets the tone for your team. It sets the tone for everybody's day. Sometimes, somebody could be on the fence, maybe having a good day, maybe not, just kind of a blah. And if you trigger something negative, then it can shift their whole mindset. Vice versa, though. When we had, I literally said it to Gabby. See, she says it to everyone and it's there all the time. So the power of positivity is insane. Just like dragging somebody down in a, that's drowning, when you reach in to pull them out of the pool, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to pull them out. They're going to pull you down too. Whereas if you use your resources, use your life vest, use things to help them out of the water, you're much more likely to get them out and not pull yourself down too. So that is something super, super, super important. Literally while I was doing my makeup, I was thinking like the power of positivity this morning and how much it can truly change everything. It can change the whole game for you. It can change it can change the game for your team, can change the game for your friends. It just does something, right? Like it flips a switch in our brains when you choose to not pour into the negativity and focus on the positive. You can have the worst of the worst situations happen, but when you look at it from the flip side and choose to see it from the positive light, it can just completely change the way you go from there, the direction you take from that point on. So that said, I was thinking power positivity, but also with this, I kind of came up with like the 3 P's for our business. The power of passion for the products and what we do, the power of presence in your team and your availability, not saying you got to be available all the time, because you don't. But just being there when someone needs you, being there for support, being there for answers to questions, not necessarily the same questions 100 times, because then you need to direct them to resources, right? But the power of positivity and how quick negativity can come into your chats, it can come into your team, and it can try to pull everybody down. So the importance of using your passion, your presence to shut it down, and your positivity to flip it and keep the positive flowing in your chat and in your team, and how much that can really change the game for your team. Because when you keep things positive and you keep flipping that negativity into a positive light every time, they're less likely to come in with the really just minuscule negative things that are happening. When they know that they don't want to be that person, right? Like that comes in and they're always being negative. So if you keep the positive flowing all the time, you allow somebody to have their 5 seconds if they need it. But then when they have their 5 seconds, you say, okay, cool. Now give me some positives. What's going on in your life today that's positive? Let's talk about potential customers and how many people you got sitting on the fence, and how can we flip that into getting them ordered? How can we change their mindset? How can we change your mindset, and get things moving in the right direction again? So I actually was already thinking this morning, and how positivity is so vital for a happy and functioning team that's willing to do with you, right? And be there in the fire. So then I picked up my book that I've been reading, and literally the next chapter was Be Positive. So I was like, well, I know 100% what I'm going to talk about today, because that just sealed the deal and confirmed it for me. But it says refrain from negativity. And that, to me, like I notated on the side from the beginning, when people get added to your chat, talk it up, be positive. Let's go, let's do this, let's be excited. Lean into them. Let's talk about their lives. And like I said, get to know them, but let's focus on those positive things that they already have going for them. So he then started quoting John C. Maxwell, ironically, because it is not a John C. Maxwell book. So it said, he tells this story, John C. Maxwell does, and he says, Fred and Martha are driving home from a church service, and Martha asked Fred, did you notice that the pastor's sermon was kind of weak today? He said, no, not really. She says, well, did you hear the choir? Then that they sounded flat. He said, no, I didn't. She said, well, certainly you must have noticed the young couple and their children right in front of us with all the noise and commotion they made the entire service. He said, no, I'm sorry, dear, I didn't notice that. Finally, in disgust, Martha says, honey, honestly, Fred, I don't know why you even bother to go to church. So she's just being negative and dragging him down, right? It says, teammates who are always looking at the negative are dangerous. They provide a toxic potion of negativity, quietly, freely, and gladly giving cups, and at times buckets of its destructive poison to their teammates. Negative team members are also energy suckers, draining every bit of momentum you have. After a conversation with one of these teammates, you can feel like you just finished 12 rounds with boxing legend Muhammad Ali. Can you relate? I think you would probably agree that most teams need a lot more positive energy and a great deal less of the negative. So this is something I actually notated on here, Alicia and in my book. But the thing is, you're going to have negativity. It's going to happen. They're going to have people having days and having moments, and it's okay. But make sure they know that this is not the place for that. They need to find a buddy and refrain from just being consistently negative in your team chats or wherever you guys meet on team Zooms or whatever. Steer your team toward the positive. And that can be for any size of team. If it's large, it's obviously harder to control. But when you have, even if you've got one person in your downline, okay, let's stay positive together. Or if it's just you, how are you going to steer yourself toward a positive mentality, a positive space where you're not allowing yourself to get down? You can always look at the glass and see it as half empty or half full. Why would you not want to see it half full? Why would you not go ahead and let's go ahead and think about, when the glass is full or when it fills more, how am I going to pour that out into my people? How am I going to disperse that positivity and allow it to refill again and, continue to pour out into others? So, even like I said, even if it's just you, keep yourself positive. You know, if you look at yourself in the mirror every day and look at all the negatives, guess what you're going to see? You're going to consistently see negative things. However, if you look at yourself and say, you know, I really like my eyes today. They're, you know, they're popping. Let's add the makeup to it and get them to pop a little bit more. Because when you go out and you carry that confidence and you carry that positive attitude, that is going to filter into other people, the people you meet, the people you see. Show off that DFT so that they see it. You're proudly showing it off. They're going to ask you what it is. You know, you could be at the grocery store, literally at the cashier. You could be anywhere and people see your smile and they want what you've got. That positivity draws people in. Likewise, the negativity does too. So decide what you want to draw in, what do you want to attract, and display that, portray it, flip your mindset on purpose and very intentionally flip it. Lead with your passion, your presence, and your positivity. And I promise things will change for you, even just day-to-day life, but especially in your team and in your business. So does anybody have questions? I don't want to make it long. I try to keep them really short so people can catch up on YouTube. But it was just kind of something on my heart. Like I said, positivity was my theme of the day, but then it came in with your passion and your presence and leading with those things in your teams, because ultimately it all kind of goes together and it all builds up. No, but I'm meeting a new friend in 5 minutes. So that was perfect. Passion, presence, positivity, Caitlin. You can do it. Awesome, Sheila. I'm glad that you took something away from that. But I'm super, super, super proud of you guys for jumping on. I know that it's not always easy in the middle of the day. So keep those P's going for yourself. Just had a friend message me that she's down on yourself. There you go. Awesome. I appreciate you guys supporting our How to Build a Team, and your presence here is always something that brightens my day. So thank you guys for jumping on, and I will see you tonight at Mindset, because that's crucial for keeping a positive. Thank you guys. See you tonight.